What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Crew 2. And while, as y'all know, it is Wednesday, which means the new summit is now live, it's kind of insane considering there's only one more summit left until Season 8 on the game here. I really do think time is flying. But nonetheless, Blizzard Rush is now going to be live, guys, and I would say this summit's going to be pretty dang fun. We're going to have a lot of weather type of events in here, so I do think a lot of people are going to like this one. Unfortunately, the Platinum reward, though, is going to be an underglow, which I do think looks pretty awesome, but I would also say a lot of players are probably not going to be like jumping over fences trying to get this. Then obviously in gold we have the Mazda MX-5, which is probably going to be a vehicle if you guys do not have. It's definitely going to be a fun little car to use. If you guys already own this vehicle though, you will get the money back for that, which if I had to guess is probably going to be like maybe 100 plus K or so. And then in silver we will have the legendary half set boosted for the power boats, which I do like seeing one of the classes get a lot of love that we haven't seen in a minute. I don't remember the last time we've had a decent set for the power boat, so it's going to be pretty nice to have this. But now moving over to the last summit until Season 8 is going to be once again the Road Samurai. I do think a lot of people are going to be happy to see this summit come back once again. It will have the Evolution X Black Knight Edition, which is going to look pretty dang awesome with the blue accents on this vehicle. If you guys did not get a chance to get this car back in the day, at least you do have another chance to do so. Then obviously in gold we're going to have the other part of the legendary half set boosted for the powerboat, which is definitely going to be something to look at. And then taking a look at the Road Samurai Summit, I would say this one's probably going to be pretty straightforward. You will be able to drive the Mitsubishi in this summit as well if you guys want to test out this car. There's also going to be a drift event in here as well, which I know a lot of players are probably not the biggest fan of. We will then have one of the drag races and then two more street events after that. And then finally on top we're going to have a touring car event in the Skyline GTR, which by the way is actually a pretty decent vehicle overall. That car is definitely a lot better than I thought. Then we're going to have a low altitude in Speedtrap, and then finally an Escape, which if I had to guess is most likely going to be a relief to many players, because luckily this isn't going to be an off-road Escape that's going to require another hypercar. And now moving over to the summit here, starting off with the speed trap. So for this one, guys, I would recommend going past the objective, then turning around and going to hit it that way. I actually tested this out a few times and basically started off right when you spawn in, and then I hit the objective that way as well. So I would say either way is going to work, but if you guys do pass the objective and go to the end of the road, and then head back toward the objective, I would say is going to give you the highest chance of getting a higher score, even running a Stingray. And if you did slipstream somebody, you can probably get pretty high on this one. But do keep in mind though, the road on this speed trap is going to be really tiny, guys, and with the pedestrians on the road, it's going to make this one insanely annoying. And then moving over to the next skill is going to be a low altitude, which I would say these are actually going to be pretty easy to do, especially this one, guys, Colorado Riverbanks. All you basically have to do is once you spawn in, you hit the objective and stay as close to the water as you possibly can. I did this one first try with the Zivko Edge and basically stayed near the water and got 156,000 points. As long as you guys have a score breaker set, the low altitudes are going to remain one of the easier skills to complete, and you guys can probably run any plane of your choice as well. But moving over to the final skill is going to be an escape, which I would say is not going to be a shocking one to see. It's going to be Canyonlands, and for this one I actually use the Regera. Now to be honest, guys, for this I originally thought you had to turn around and hit the objective and go that way, go off-road, then jump over the mountain, which by the way that way probably could work. Of course you're going to have to dodge the rocks that love hiding behind the bushes. I would say the easiest way to get around 120k on this one is going to be when you guys first spawn in, basically hit the objective and follow the road as fast as you possibly can. I would definitely say this is going to be the easiest way to do this one. But moving over to the first event is going to be a hypercar race. So for all the hypercar events, guys, that are no restriction, I actually use the Bugatti Veyron 16.4 Grand Sport Vitesse and or Vitesse. I most likely did not pronounce that correctly, but this hypercar is slowly becoming one of my favorite vehicles to run in this class. Like, my goodness, guys, the Veyron is so dang good. I really do enjoy driving this car, and what's kind of insane is I really don't see many people run it. If I had to guess on most of these hyper races in this summit, you're most likely going to be seeing the Tempesta basically everywhere, and I can see why that is, but I would recommend trying out the Bugatti, guys. Like, this car is going to be insanely underrated. I wouldn't say the Veyron's going to be the best hypercar in the game, but I really do believe this car can easily compete with some of the better ones like the Tempesta. And for example, guys, the next event you do get to drive the 488 Pista. I actually found this car to be pretty dang good as well, and to be honest, I have probably not used this car more than any of the other vehicles in this class, so I may have to test out the Pista more often, but I just have not driven this Ferrari. I wouldn't say this car is going to be bad in any way because it actually performed pretty dang good in the blizzard warning. Do keep in mind this is also going to be the event with that really annoying wind as well, so it's really going to be pushing the car to the right pretty often. So the easiest way I found to fix this is to basically keep your finger on the analog stick and push it to the left just a little bit. That way it's going to basically counter the wind. So overall the Ferrari is pretty dang decent. Now moving down to the next two hyper events, guys, I also use the Bugatti once again. I really do think this car is going to deserve a look because my goodness, it's definitely going to be underrated. Now, one thing I do want to mention, by the way, is I will be doing my top favorite picks in each class, so definitely stay tuned for those videos coming in the near future. I also feel like some of these cars, like the Bugatti Veyron, are almost going to be like a hidden gem. I really do feel like there's going to be really fun cars to use in some of these classes, and I can definitely see how they do get overshadowed by something like the Tempesta that's going to be that good, but I really do recommend trying out something like the Bugatti, guys, because these cars can easily compete with some of the better ones. As I did mention, they're not going to be the fastest thing out there, but they're definitely good enough to at least get a pretty dang good score in the summit to get you guys into platinum. And now moving over to the final event in the summit, you guys will have to use the Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4 Interception Unit, which, by the way, do stay tuned for this video of this car coming later in this week. I'm actually pretty surprised with how the 3000 GT is now. One thing I can admit though, if you guys are driving manual, you're most likely going to be trying to find gear similar to when you're trying to find Waldo. It's probably going to be that bad with this thing, so I would recommend putting this thing in automatic. Even though it's still going to be pretty dang good in manual, I managed to do this one in 3 minutes and 41 seconds. Do keep in mind, by the way, this is going to be the descent, so on that one area in this race it's going to get insanely bright, and you're basically going to be blinded by the light, not by the weekend, but obviously by that insane snow with the sunlight. I do remember that briefly when I lived in Colorado. My goodness, it gets so insanely bright, but overall, guys, the Mitsubishi is going to be pretty dang decent, and I wouldn't say this car is going to be like the best street car in the game or anything, but I also wouldn't say it's going to be one of the worst either, but overall I do think this summit's going to be pretty dang fun. I would say the most annoying event is probably going to be the Speedtrap and or the Escape. I would say all the actual races are going to be pretty dang fun for the most part, but let me know if you guys have any questions at all in the comments below. Let's jump right into this summit.